Hi, fourth graders. So today we are going to continue working on finding the theme and supporting it with evidence from the text. So today we're going to read another Storyworks article called Mars Needs Guitars. And then I'm going to model two parts of this story for you, and then you will have an assignment at the end. So make sure that you're listening and following along. This story is actually a super fun and exciting story, so I highly recommend that you listen carefully. All right, so let's quickly do a review of what is theme. Okay, so we've been talking about this the last couple of days. The theme of a story is the message the author is trying to convey about life, right? It's things that as we grow up, we learn all these things about life. And the best part about books is a lot of the times books are teaching us those things. So, something to ask ourselves is what lesson can we as readers learn from the story? Okay. And then this picture right here theme is a common message that shows up in many stories across all types of genres and across all types of cultures. The story that we listened to yesterday, The Rough Faced Girl, that story was a book that has the same type of theme as Cinderella, right? And that was a book that was in a different culture and it was told differently, but it had overall the same theme as the story Cinderella. So that's an example for you. So, what we're going to do today is we are going to read the first half of Mars Needs Guitars. Okay, it's an awesome book. I'm going to read it out loud to you, and you are going to follow along. All right, so we're going to go to this one. Okay. And then again, you have these on your slides. Let me go back. You have these on your slides. So if you need to ever go back to the text, because you will for the assignment that you have to complete, you can always go like this to make the words bigger, because I know it is super tiny, especially for me. So we're going to read and you're going to follow along with me. So I'm going to zoom in. All right. So it looks like the title Mars Needs Guitars. What does it take to make life happier? It's by Jeff Rodkey, and the art is by Maura Violis. Okay, let's get going. All right. There was nothing to do on Mars Station except wait and worry. Mars Station. Um, Isla and I were sitting against the back wall of the station's rec center, watching the latest arrivals wander in, when two of the new kids came over to us. They were about my age and they stared down at my sister with that excited look people got when they figured out who she was. Hey, weren't you on that pop singer show? The girl asked. Isla just shrugged. Back on Earth, her whole face used to light up when strangers recognized her. Now her eyes looked as dead as the screen in her hand. It's very interesting. So they said back on Earth. So I'm starting to think that the setting is in space or on Mars. Now, she'd spent the whole 7 month trip to Mars staring into it as she rewatched old Ed and Fred episodes. The screen was useless now. She couldn't recharge the battery because of the energy shortage, but she still carried it around like a little electronic security blanket. I'm Naya, the girl told her, and this is Jens. Naya pointed at the second kid. His t shirt was too tight and his pants were too short. Like me, he'd probably grown some during the trip, but he hadn't figured out yet that the station ran a clothing exchange for kids just like us. I love your song, Jen gushed at Isla. I voted for you online after every round. Thanks, I guess. Isla's voice was so bitter that it wiped the smile off the kid's face. He looked worried, like he'd insulted her, but didn't know how. Hi, I said, trying to bail him out by changing the subject. I'm Lon. Hila's my sister. The new kids looked at me like they'd only just noticed I was sitting there. Oh, hi, said Naya. Hey, said Jens. Did you guys just get here? I tried to sound friendly. It's tough to stay positive when there's a giant lump of fear living permanently in your stomach. But mom kept telling us the only cure for fear is action. And when I asked her what action I could possibly take that might help things, she'd say, just try to make somebody's life a little happier. So I did my best to smile at everybody, even though there wasn't much to smile about. Naya nodded. We were on a ship that came in last night. She looked around the rec center. Is it always this crowded? Pretty much, I said. They built this station to do science experiments, but the only experiment now is like, can you fit 2,000 people in a space that's meant for 500? So I'm learning more about the characters right now. I'm learning about the two main characters, which is Isla, and which is our friend Isla, and I'm totally blanking on his name right now. And Lon, Isla and Lon. Okay, so we're learning about those two characters right now. I guess so. Naya smiled back, and I felt like I'd accomplished something. Jens hasn't given up on Isla yet. So, do you still make music? Isla didn't even look up. I wanted to tell the kid not to bother, that talking to my sister these days was like dropping a rock down a well. Sometimes there'd be a little plunk, and you'd know you hit something, but nothing ever came back to you. Instead, I told him about the clothing exchange. I figured having pants that fit might make his life a little happier. Isla and I were already in bed when Mom got back to our living compartment that night. She and Dad were working long hours. Mom was helping put together a new government, and Dad was one of the scientists working on the food issue. The issue being that we might run out of it. That was one big reason why the lump of fear in my stomach wouldn't go away. The only big reason was that long term, nobody could figure out where we were going to live. Earth was no longer an option, and Mars Station wasn't built to be permanent. How was your day? Mom whispered. The compartment was so tiny that even a whisper carried all the way across it. We met some new kids, I said. They were big fans of Isla's from Pop Singer. That must have felt good, Mom said to Isla. Whatever, my sister muttered. Mom took a deep breath. What if you. I'm not going to sing, Mom. There's no point. Isla, you have a gift. You're an incredibly talented. Who cares anymore? Music can't grow food. It can't find us a new planet. It'll make people happy. Mom wasn't whispering anymore. Don't underestimate how important that is. She reached over and gently brushed the hair out of Isla's eyes. I bet it'll make you feel better too. Isla shook her head. I can't sing without a guitar. Why not? I just can't. Nobody talked for a while. The lump of fear in my stomach was getting bigger. The only cure for fear is action. I lifted my head and looked at my sister. I'm going to find you a guitar, I said. I started the next morning after they handed out the breakfast ration. It was half a protein bar each, which didn't exactly put people in a great mood. Nobody in the cafeteria had a guitar. A few of them gave me a sad little smiles, but most just shook their heads and frowned. It was like they were rationing their smiles along with the food. Naya and Jens saw me asking around and they joined the search. By late morning, we'd covered the whole station. It was hopeless. Mars had no guitars. Can't she just sing? Jens asked me. Why does she need a guitar? I don't know, I said. She's weird about stuff like that. My dad says she has an artistic temperament. What does that mean? It means she's hard to live with. What if we paid her to sing? Naya asked. With what? I don't know. What does she want? She wants to sit around and watch Ed and Fred. Naya smiled. I loved that show. Everybody did. Ed and Fred was about two roommates who didn't get along, and the best episodes could make you laugh until your sides hurt. Jen smiled too. I practically had every episode memorized. That gave me an idea. I wasn't sure if it was brilliant or stupid. But when I told it to Naya and Jens, their eyes lit up, so we decided to try it. 2 hours later, we knocked on the door to my family's compartment. Isla answered with a scowl. What? Would you trade us a song for an Ed and Fred episode? A little flicker of life appeared in her eyes. Does somebody have a screen with a charge on it? Better, I said. Come to the rec center and we'll show you. So I'm going to stop there. And I know we kind of left it on a suspenseful part of the story, and that's because we're going to read the rest of it tomorrow. So what you're going to do is watch me model the story. So model finding the theme and supporting the theme with my evidence. So let's go back over here. So you should have followed along to that point. So what we're going to do is we're going to answer this question and find evidence in the text. So it says, what does Lon believe there is to do on Mars? Okay, what does Lon believe there is to do on Mars? So I went back in the text and I used my highlighter tool to find what Lon thinks there is to do in the text. So it says kind of right in the beginning, it says there was nothing to do on Mars Station except wait and worry. Okay, so he kind of says that right off the bat. There is nothing to do on Mars Station except wait and worry. So I put that in there. Lon believes there is nothing to do on Mars except worry. Okay. I found that right off the bat, which was kind of lucky. And then this question says, how does fear make Lon feel? Now, I also kind of figured this out right away too, because in the text they repeat it all the time. And let me show you what that was. So right away they say it on the first page. Lon says, it's tough to stay positive when there's a giant lump of fear living permanently in your stomach. Okay, so he talks about that a lot. He talks about it on the second page too. He says, that was one big reason why the lump of fear in my stomach wouldn't go away. Okay, so that's like how he interprets his fear. So, how does fear make him feel? It makes Lon feel like he has a permanent lump of fear in his stomach. Okay, so I went back into the text and I also made it into my own words. So what you're going to do today, I made them two different colors. So I had mine be white and yours are yellow. Your job for your assignment today is to finish slides 8 and 9. And you can look back in the text, they're in slides 4 and 5 to answer these questions. The first question is, what expression does Lon see on Isla's face? So I need to look back on the text and answer that question in this box. Slide 9 says, what does mom tell Lon to do? Okay. All right, so have fun with this, and this will be posted on Google Classroom, and you will submit it like normal. You'll turn it in. All right, we'll see you later.